Last month on our show, we did a whole thing about volunteers and volunteer fire department. Now, with us on the phone is Mr. Steve Flotterin with a special message to all the volunteer firefighters. And with us on the phone right now is Steve Flotterin, Deputy Presiding Officer of the Suffolk County Legislature. Steve, I just did a show last month about the volunteers and the fire department, and what a great thing it was to find out that you created this program to help all the volunteers, because as you know, we're in sore need of volunteers in our fire department. Can you tell us a little bit about the program?
Yes, and thank you for doing that program on it, because there is such a shortage. And what's happening now on Long Island, probably everywhere, Long Island's getting very expensive, and volunteerism is going down, because when our kids, maybe they join when they're in high school or college or after, they maybe they like to volunteer, but they end up having to quit when they want to move on and get their own home, or they get married or start a family, etc. And they have to either quit to get a second job, or maybe move out of the area to try to find places more affordable. And I learned that Long Island Housing Partnership has a lot of good programs, just like our local community development agencies, and always looking for different ways to improve my community, like where there's some areas where they needed extra help. I was always learned about these different programs. And one of them, again, was called the Employer Assisted Housing Program that the Long Island Housing Partnership sponsors. And they work with different corporations on Long Island, such as like the Catholic Health System, the Northwell Health System, Brookhaven National Lab, Bethpage Federal Credit Union, to name a couple of the employers. And they have this program which releases state and federal money if the employer signs on willing to offer this like employee benefit program. They said for first-time home buyers. And it's not first time, actually, just home buyers. If they owned a home once in the past, they still could participate in this program. And this program is for employees that moderate income and helps gets federal and state grants to a homeowner that's maybe an employee in a business. And it releases up to close to $50,000 of benefits from these grants. $26,000 for down payment assistance and $24,000 for rehabilitation of the property. Well, again, these were always for employers. In my background of doing employee benefits, I would think volunteer organizations never signed up because they're volunteers, they're not paid employees. But understanding employee benefits and reading through the contract, I found out there was no stipulation that would preclude them from participating in this program. So I reached out to Housing Partnership to verify, and they double-checked with the grantors from state and federal, and they found out, no, we could use them for volunteers. Then came the next stumbling block of where would our local fire departments get the matching part. There's a little piece that the employer promises to maybe match $3,000 if an employee signs up in the program. And that was, going to be maybe a little problem with a volunteer organization. Where would they get that $3,000? And I reached out to some friends telling this the problem here in the saga. And I had a friend start an organization called Long Island Homes for Heroes, and he has a website, .org. And we're going to raise money to help sponsor the volunteers and donate it to that local firehouse or ambulance corps, and donate it, so they would have the $3,000 to sponsor that volunteer that is working there. So they don't have to come up with the local taxes, raise the money. We donate it just like we donate as residents sometimes to the local organization, sending up $50 in every year or $100, whatever, to help the organization. We'll be able to donate the $3,000. And we already have reached out to some corporations and realtors and mortgage brokers and title companies who are all eager to help sponsor these volunteers. So that's somewhat long story, somewhat hopefully a little shorter. Hopefully it's understandable, everybody. If anybody wants to find out more information on this, they can reach out to my office. My phone number is 631-854-4100, or of course reach out to the Long Island Housing Partnership. They're the ones fully geared for this, or they can also reach out to Long Island Homes for Heroes.
Now, this program, let's say there were some sponsors who were watching the show who wanted to participate. This is a nonprofit, right?
It's a nonprofit, so we could use the help. So we would love them to reach out to Long Island Homes to Hero to help sponsor. Our goal is actually want to do some grassroots besides maybe I already have maybe some big donors interested. But say, if we set up, say, in Medford, if the fire department decides to sign up for this, just making that up, is maybe the local realtor in that area or a local business owner would like to sponsor one of our volunteers. And it's when in the middle of the night and your house is on fire or someone has a health issue, you want to know if someone's able to answer that call 911. And I think it's all our duties to make sure we can help retain our wonderful volunteers. Because if I know myself, I have kids. It gets to a certain point, if they want to save for a house, I don't want to say stop volunteering because you need to make extra money in a second or third job. You should be rewarded for all the good work you're doing, and let's help keep them here, and we'll get a lot more out of them than this costing. And again, this is not costing the local taxpayers in the sense getting donation, and also this is federal and state grants, and it's really let's help our volunteers with this, not just regular paid employees in the world. We should put them front of the line here. That I feel.
And also, anybody who would sign into this program, it's a nonprofit, so it would be tax deductible, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so it's a win-win for everybody. And
yes.
with the volunteer shortage, like I said, we just did on the last show, we're trying to get some of these people to understand, especially some of the younger kids, about volunteering, that you're going to get as well as you give. And volunteering, it's really is a backbone part of America. A lot of people have, volunteered from the Minutemen going back into the Revolutionary War to our great volunteer fire department, EMTs. I could go on and on, right, Steve?
Yeah. Well, when we did the press conference at Bayshore Ambulance to roll this out, because they signed up first, it was like they had a couple of volunteers there that were interested in the program. One was a young mother, single mother, and she needs to get permanent housing. And, it gets to, you don't have to quit this volunteer, which you love doing. You love giving to the community. And a single mom that's working full-time plus volunteers, we need to help someone, a saint like that, get into a home, have a roof over her head, because we don't want to lose them. We don't want to lose them to a second job. We don't want to lose them to another state. So that's why I think it's important for all of us to try to help this cause. Because if not, our taxes are already high here. It'll cost us even more if we have to do all paid service someday.
Yeah, that's the next thing I was going to bring up. Is that New York City firefighters are paid, and to add on a tax burden like that already to overtax Nassau and Suffolk County would be a disaster.
Exactly.
So
we wouldn't probably even get the same manpower for fire dispatch we have now when we have a lot of these local firehouses have 100 to 200 volunteers. And, because it's 3 different shifts in a sense, in the day and nights and weekends. And how much would that cost to replace?
Oh, it'd be astronomical. It would be astronomical. That's why it's great that you came up with this program for the volunteer firefighters, EMTs, that they can get in this, actually help get their home. And right now, Steve, the way the economy is, every little bit, any dollar is going to help.
Yeah. And these are the men and women that will are going to be saving your life or your family members. So least we could do for them, all of us, if we could help. And one way is passing on the word that there is such a program. Encourage our youth and really any age to please volunteer. And again, don't feel that you're missing out on the opportunity of owning a home because you're doing one way God's work, helping out here, and you don't have that extra income. Right now, this could release over $50,000 worth of benefits. Plus, there's other programs they get to learn, so it forces them. Someone's outreaching for our local community development agencies and everything else to teach these volunteers maybe about home ownership and cleaning up credit and other opportunities besides that. I know you've done stories in the past about, like in town of Brookhaven, where they might have lotteries for first-time home buyers and everything else. So there's even more programs besides the one I just mentioned. So it's letting them know a lot of the opportunities that are out there also is important.
Well, like I said, Steve, I think it's a great thing, and I'm glad that you came on the program to let all the volunteers and other people who may just be thinking about volunteering this benefit that's going to be available to them.
Yeah, thank you. And again, we're getting phone calls already across Long Island. I've gotten calls from my district is in West Islip, Bayshore, Brightwater's area, and also now North and West Babylon in the future. And we've gotten calls from Floral Park, Rockville Center, and besides, Medford and other ones. So in Shirley, it was like the first day. So they're all excited about this opportunity because again, some of the ones I meet there are they're younger and they want to stay, but they have to make a tough decision. And it's a real brother sisterhood. They don't want to leave, and we're very fortunate that they're able to do this and want to do this. But we don't want to make it that they can't have. If they do this, they can't have a roof over their head. That's not fair, and we need to help them.